Grateful to see you all. Good morning. Thank you for being here for Unity South Central Region's Business Mastermind. This is something I always look forward to. I love spending the time with you. And this morning I'm particularly excited because we're talking about money, which happens to be a subject that I really like to talk about. And I know that that's not true for everybody. Not everyone enjoys talking about money. But I'm hoping that by the time we're done today, that you will feel like talking about money is a pretty good thing, and that maybe you have some new ways to do it. Let's see if we can get ourselves to start. Okay. Awesome. Everybody in their place, so I can see your beautiful faces and see what I'm doing too. So when I sat down to put this class together, this was a little bit of a daunting preparation for me, only because most of us have actually, unlike other denominations, we have actually really worked on our abundance awareness, and we have very strong theological underpinnings around how we interact with the source and the substance, what holds us, what is beneath us and supports us, of life. It's actual theological principle that we have all studied and worked with. So when I think about teaching in this area, I know that no matter how we interact with it, some of us in a more comfortable way than others, we actually have put practice and principle together. And I wanted to be able to step up that game a little bit. So I'm going to ask you as we begin to set down your awarenesses and let yourself simply take in some possible new ideas. And I know you're familiar with asking your communities to do this. Just for today, suspend any old beliefs that you have and let yourself have this moment to consider something new. That is the invitation and the practice as we go into this time, because we are looking to step into imagination and courage. And those two really impact us in the world that we live in today, because the world is shifting so fast and people's ideas about life are shifting so fast that a lot of people are getting ideas about manifesting in abundance and how we move money around. They're getting those ideas really quickly and they're trying to be super adapters, but they're not settling into the heart space that supports that. So you get a lot of people who are certain they're good at manifesting and certain they're good at sharing, and really don't have their intention straight underneath. A lot of that intention gets based in, if I just give more, I'll receive more. Versus, as I generously give into the world shifts and changes in a multitude of ways that support life for everyone and all things. And I think that difference is really important for us to be aware of in our communities, because we kind of have an assumption with all the years of teaching that we've done around abundance. We kind of have a little bit of an assumption that our people get the intention part, that they actually really understand that we're shifting the world and making the world better. And fear will make abundance teachings translate as a way to receive more. We also don't teach well when it comes to how to receive in the first place. So those are some of the things that we're going to talk about today. There is a conversation, as specifically as unity ministers, that we are not taught, and that is that we are not given a lot of conversation around money as practical. We are taught about there being an abundant source, but the kind of nuts and bolts of how you manage a budget, how to determine what you need, all of that, is we get a very small amount of training in that field and a lot of encouragement to move into the metaphysical principles around money. So I want us to start by really addressing that avoiding conversation about the practicalities of money weakens our mission. No matter whether your mission is love in action, your mission is, whatever your mission is, If you are not talking about the practicalities of expense and what it takes for your community to step in and do what you've decided you're going to do in the world, you're missing a really important piece of what can happen. So, money is practical, not just sacred. Money is how we exchange energy, and we'll talk more about that. Talking about it, we have been immersed our whole lives in a culture that says that talking about money diminishes the spirituality of it. In other words, if I say to my community, guys, I'm getting a little nervous, we don't have enough money to do everything we need to do, we are teaching one principle and talking from fear. And I just want you to think about these things. I want you to think about how that strikes you. If you talk about money and the need for money and how money will be used in your community, do you present fear? Or what else could you present when you're having that conversation? And how could you say what you say in a different way? We've also been taught that scarcity equals humility. And what that really means is people who have a lot of money are doing something. It just doesn't happen that way. You shouldn't have a lot of money. You're probably using it wrong. Something is going wrong. If somebody has a lot of money, there's corruption, there's something. So the equal and opposite of that is that if we're living in scarcity, we are managing our resources well, and we are more thoughtful about what we do with our money, and we are in a humble place. So I want to talk for just a minute about humility and what that really is. Humility is the ability to see that what is happening for you should be and can be happening for everyone else. Whether it's how smart you are, how much money you have, that you get to travel, that whatever it is, humility is to wish, want, desire, and manifest that in a way that brings it into the life of all of the people around us, that does not see us individually as more entitled to something than anybody else. It also sees us as entitled, as equally entitled to all of those things. And so when we get into those old teachings that for a lot of us came before we were ministers, sometimes those things are, they're sabotaging what we understand about the flow in our communities and in our own lives. So these are things for you to think about, to make yourself a little note. How do I feel about humility? What is humility in my life? How do I express humility, and what does that word really mean to me? Does humility limit me from expressing in a way that shows potential and possibility for life? Versus if I show this, and this can happen in your community also around happiness. If you're having a particularly really great time in your life, maybe you're newly in love, something exciting has happened, sometimes because we're aware of what's going on in our community, we kind of hold that close to us and don't share it openly because our community is struggling with something and we don't want to be so happy while our community is struggling. And in that place, we both shut down the joy of life in ourselves and shut down our holding as a visible statement of potential for other people. It's just something to notice in yourself. We have been told that money is energy, both scientifically and spiritually, and it makes sense, right? Because if I can't go to the store and I hand you a $20 bill and say, will you go to the store and pick up stuff for dinner? I have essentially given you my energy to take to the store in exchange for something there that you will bring back and we will prepare and gain from together or individually. It's just a way that we move the energy of what we've done. If I work for someone, I am given a certain amount of money in exchange for my time and my contribution. So it makes sense that it's it's energy. Where we sometimes are lacking is looking at the pattern of how that energy moves in our community. Actually looking for a pattern. When do our people give? How do our people give? Why do our people give? When do they not give? What do they not care about? What are the things that shut them down? All of that is important to look at. Our exchange with our community when it comes to money builds relational bonds, because when people invest their time and energy, whether they're volunteering their hours or gifting through donations, they are building care and concern. They are investing in what we're creating. And without that, they don't care as much. And that can put the caring out of balance. It can put the caring where it belongs to a small group of people rather than the entire community. We have a small group of people who really are supporting the overarching work that we do, rather than we're all supporting it to the level that we're able to. It's also important to remember that giving activates certain parts of the brain, that there's a dopamine hit that happens when we give. It feels good to give. And we all experience it in the ways that we give. However, it feels good to give if we can see what the giving is accomplishing. If we're on auto tithe and we're giving every month and we don't have a way of relating that to something that's actually happening as a result of our giving, it doesn't have a feel. It's not that it's a bad feeling, it just doesn't have a feel. You don't have association with it. So if we have people who are in an auto-giving program and they are never, we're not talking about that auto tithe or that auto giving, and we're not explaining on a regular basis how those funds are being used and what's happening. We're just saying, thanks for being part of our auto giving. It helps us have a good, strong basis for what we do. And we're not actually talking about what we do with that money. We are missing the dopamine connection. We're missing the good feeling that we get as humans when we know we support something. So telling the story of how we give and how we use money as energy that accomplishes something is really critically important to people's relationship with their own giving. We know that our money ministry is about circulation. We know that if we don't have enough money, we don't have enough staff and we burn out. We know that if we don't have enough money, we can't be creative or innovative because we don't even try, because there's not enough money to do something new. And we know that survival becomes the story that underlines our community. When we have our resources flowing, moving in circulation, we have new programs or deepening in our programs. We have rested leaders who are well supported by enough staff, and we have innovation. We have the freedom to think of something new. And sometimes you have to think about it like, if you have enough money in the bank, you can think about the vacation you're going to take. I think, I've got a couple grand in savings. I'll go to Tulum this year, or maybe I'll go, I've always wanted to go to Ireland. Maybe I'll do that. When you have a healthy financial picture, your community can imagine into the speaker they might want to bring in, or the musical event they might want to do, or the building improvement they want, or maybe they want to do a retreat somewhere. They have the ability to be excited about something new. So this work, when we're working on our money ministry, on our money awareness, on the prosperity and well-being of our community, we are looking to accomplish something that expands the imagination and opens the community into possibility. It's so much more than just paying the bills. It's to open the minds and hearts of community into a manifesting awareness that allows for innovation. and allows for excitement to exist in your community. And so we're going from a model in today in this conversation from stewardship to partnership. And that's a really different thing. I want you to be a partner with me to make something new and exciting happen that we can do together and I can't do alone. Stewardship says we're all responsible for this. Partnership says let's create together. What would we like this to feel like? What's in your imagination? What's in mine? And how can we do this? And so again, a lot of our language around money is really locked and solid in our communities. And I don't know about you, I'm always a little hesitant to shift language because it makes the ground feel a little less stable for a little while. But to move from stewardship to partnership says something new. It says creation. It says merging. It says unification in a different way. So the old model says give because you're part of this institution and we need you. And the new model says invest because transformation is really important right now. We are in a time of transformation and we need new possibilities and the freedom to open into a new way of thinking. So let's put a little of our financial energy into a transformation fund, into transformational thinking. How can we do things in a new way? What does this new world we're living in invite us into as active participants and partners here, as well as partners in the transformative world that we're sharing? It helps people to have the idea that they're giving into vision rather than giving into need. And that helps them not only in their relationship with their spiritual community, but it helps them look at their life differently. Because a lot of our life story around money is about need and all the have-tos in life. So the first place I want to challenge you a little bit is to look very practically at how you're pricing the things that you do. Do you have a limit, a cap that you've given, our community will pay top maybe $20 to attend an event. They're probably not going to 30. Are you sure? What is your cap for your community? And what would happen if you increased that cap by $5? And you said, we're going to start our average cost at $5, our average addition at $5, because it helps us to increase the expertise level. It helps us to look through a transformational lens, and it helps with the long-term sustainability of our community. A lot of times the minister is the one that's holding the story about that. Oh, they're not coming. If I charge $40 for this, they're not coming. But they're going across the street to the CSL over there because there's a speaker and it costs $40 a ticket. And they're going to the symphony and they're going to the football game. They're going to lots of things where the cost of a ticket is a little bit higher. Like any good business, you have to make your increases incremental so that people become comfortable. But it may be time to actually look at increasing the cost of the things that you offer. To actually really consider, when was the last time we took a price up? How do we set our prices? What is our average cost for an event that we do? How do we really do that? Have we done any competitive analysis in our market? What are other churches in our kind of churches? What are other progressive thinking churches? What are they charging? What other things are our people saying they're going to? Where do we know they're going? What are they spending on average? How do they value what we offer? Or do they have a value that what happens in our church isn't expensive because we're trying to make it available for everybody, so I don't have to pay so much. I can do something different there. Charging appropriately ties into your mission, because the abundant flowing of principle that principle of abundant flowing ties into your mission, doesn't it? So I want to give you a way to do this that is simple and doesn't automatically exit some of the members of your community who really are on a set income and it would be very hard for them. I want to suggest to you that you start working with a model that has 2 published amounts. One that is called a generosity rate and one that is called a community rate. So that when you offer a class, it always has those 2 rates of compensation listed. That 2 rates of investment or cost or fee or love offering or whatever it is that you use as your language around that. That you go to 2 rates. One is a generosity rate that allows the community to do more. One of the things that it does is supports scholarships. So that if you have people who can't pay the community rate, but really want to attend a class, they can come through the scholarship fund. That generosity rate builds a scholarship fund. But also that generosity, that's a percentage of your generosity rate. If your generosity rate, let's say your event rate is $20, your generosity rate is $40, with $10 going to the scholarship fund and $10 going to some innovative project that you're working on, going into something else. Those are designated amounts. You're being very clear in educating them. When you give here, you're helping us make sure everyone can come and take these classes. And you're also helping us to build the labyrinth on the front lawn or whatever it is that you're trying to do. You have a consistent way of giving in. And then community members who want to give generously can. And your generosity rate can always say $40 or anything above that is comfortable for you. So that you are really encouraging people who have funds to give with intention and really opening up that community rate so that those people that really are on a set income never have to feel bad about the fact that I can pay $20, but I can't pay $25. That's an easy way to start feeling into what your community will do and to really be gracious about it. It allows you to add that 3rd space, which is a certain number of spots for someone to be scholarshiped in. And a lot of times your teachers will give you those scholarship places. If you have a teacher coming in and you say, we'd like to have 3 scholarship places in this class, are you willing to have 3 people come for free? A lot of times your teachers will do that, will give you, because they're going to teach anyway, which just allows you to, again, extend your scholarship program so that nobody in your community is without means to attend if they want to be. And also kind of begins to give you a feel who is applying for scholarships, who is pretty consistently giving from the community tier, and who's in your generosity tier. And you can do something. You can do a generosity thank you dinner for people who are regularly giving into the generosity fund. You can, if you keep track of that information, which gets a little bit more complex. But if you track that, you can do a generosity dinner. You can do something for those people in particular to say thank you. You can even once a year say just, whether you gave once or you gave 20 times, if you paid a generosity fee this year, would you please stand up so we can acknowledge the way you're contributing? Because people like to know that they're recognized. Not everybody. Some people who do it will never stand up because humility is important to them, but some people will really appreciate that you recognize them. This removes shame for where you are. It gives you options, and it teaches your community that you have the possibility of doing more if you want to, because we don't give that. We just say the cost is $20, and so people pay $20, and they don't get the option of using that particular moment of abundance to give in. And sometimes what happens is it's tax season, and I got some extra money, and ooh, here's a great way. I can give into the scholarship fund. That's fabulous. Part of it goes to scholarship, part of it goes to innovation. It's there. I want to talk to you about the words revenue streams. Revenue streams mean that money is coming into you in lots of different ways. And we tend to think of revenue streams as our auto giving, our classes, our Sunday morning, right? What are your active revenue streams? Maybe your bookstore. Maybe you have a bookstore or a gift store, since we don't sell as many books as we used to. Do you have a community activity that can have a membership to it? Can you do a membership movie night where you pay $20 a month and we have a movie night and we show a great movie and we have a spaghetti dinner for you and you're part of the movie club and you get to vote on the movies because you're a member of the movie club? Can you do a membership of some kind within that is a monthly thing that people can give a fee into and have that fee oriented towards something? So your monthly movie night membership pays for the expenses of our gathering, but those expenses are $5 to $7 maybe a person, and it's a $20 ticket. So the rest of those funds go into the innovation fund, or the rest of those funds go into the Labyrinth Fund, or the rest of those funds go into our community fund that we use to give out into the community. Can you look at what your expenses are and have part of that fee go somewhere so that the membership actually builds? Do you do retreat experiences? Do you call them retreats? Do you look into your area and say, retreat to Unity? To Unity Village is an amazing experience. I've taken people to Unity Village, taken communities to Unity Village. It's an awesome, amazing thing to do. But there also are great places really close to where you live that your people might like to go to. Or you can do a retreat in your site. We're going to spend Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm going to bring in speakers. We're going to do a concentrated topic retreat. Bring your cot, bring your blow-up mattress. We're sleeping in Fellowship Hall. You can go home if you want, but it's going to be so much fun to stay here because we have something to offer. A retreat experience can run $1,000. Many of your people are paying for retreat experiences with people outside your community. If I do a retreat, if I take people into Mexico, or I take people, even if I'm bringing them into Colorado, I'm charging a couple $1,000s for that. Because it's a real retreat experience, an immersive experience that starts somewhere, starts with an entry point, moves them into vulnerability, into a softening, moves them into liminal space where they can shift, and then integrates what they learned and sends them home with some kind of a touchstone, something that they can hold on to carry that experience. We can do a class like this on how to do a retreat. If you have interest in that, let me know, because I can always work that into this schedule. There is a real pattern for doing a retreat. It's not just getting together and bringing a bunch of speakers in. That's more of a conference. A retreat is a living experience of transformation. And you have the opportunity to offer that maybe once a year, on-site or off-site. Again, if you're building scholarship funds in other ways, you can scholarship some people. You can keep your prices low enough that a lot of people can participate. But it's a definite revenue opportunity. Are you teaching online courses? Because we all have access into our community that has access to people who are not in our community. Hey friends, I'm going to teach a class on this, but this is going to be a little different. This is a bring a buddy class. So I want you to think of someone who does not live close enough to attend our community, but would really like to do something with you. your friend in Texas, your friend in Alabama, your friend, your mom, your sister, your whatever, that you would like to be in class with so that you can run these ideas in your friendship, in your sisterhood, in your life together. We're going to do it online. It's going to happen this way. That opportunity opens the door for relationship building with people that you have not met and that your community members are really close to and would love to get together with every Tuesday night and would love to. Then you can say, now, buddy up. You're going to get off here, and for half an hour afterwards, I want you to jump back on Zoom with your buddy or jump on your phone and spend a little time together talking about what you learned. So it's a really intentional way of giving them a space to build a relationship with people that they really care about, and a way of increasing revenue for you, a new revenue opportunity. Really good for winter because they don't have to leave home. They're set. They can stay where they are. Legacy giving circles, we talk about that. I'll come back to Leadership Institutes. Legacy giving circles are really different than just legacy giving. They're legacy giving circles are people who know they're going to make a larger donation, who want to contribute into the legacy, who actually have the opportunity then to talk about how they would love to see their funds used, about what they'd really like their legacy giving to do in the future. It's a conversation for people who are giving in that way that helps people to see that they're not the only one doing it, helps you to see who is planning for it, and really opens a new conversation. Leadership Institutes can be done into your community. They can be done for other church leaders. They can be done for church administrators. They can be done for entrepreneurs in your community. We have leadership. We have lots of leadership tools. Are we reaching out into our communities beyond our volunteer leaders and really thinking about what we could offer in the way of leadership institutes? Again, the world we're in right now, how do you hold leadership and be the presence of peace in your business? It's tough on leaders. We do a lot in the region for leaders because it's tough for leaders right now, because leaders are dealing with people who are shorter tempered, who are in fight or flight, who are uncomfortable leaving their house in the morning, all kinds of things. Are we offering into our community as community service the opportunity to give some of the tools that we have for meditative practices, for peaceful centering? What does it mean to ground? For pause? Are we offering some of those into the workplace, most especially through entrepreneurial channels? If you have a young entrepreneurs club or anything like that in your community, or chambers of commerce that work with young entrepreneurs are struggling right now because they don't have their entrepreneurs. They're starting their business. They have 1, 2, maybe 5 employees, and they have this little community that they have to take care of that they don't have the tools for under the current circumstances of life. So there's an opportunity there. There's also an opportunity for facility partnerships, whether you are sharing a building with someone who is doing a different kind of spiritual work, or whether you are moving out into their facility and saying, we would like to teach in more than our own place. There are people who will come into the library, who will see a class in the library and take a class at the library before they will come into your place of worship. So sometimes we have to put ourselves in a different place to be able to be of service to other people, and then also have that be a new revenue source for us. Digital resource libraries, we do so many things that we don't record, and most of them we give away for free. But if you went back through your last 2 years of lessons, can you hire somebody at a minimal cost? And I can recommend someone, if you have an interest in this, who can take your last series a series you did on peace, a series you did on manifesting, a series you did on what love means in the world, whatever it is, can you create a digital product out of that? That again is $15, $20, and you get these 4 20-minute lectures on whatever that topic is. These are ways to repurpose what you already have. Now that means that you have to make it available for your community for free for a certain amount of time, and then let them know, I'm pulling this into our resource library, and you can go back and get it in your resource library. Some things will always stay in your open free library, but there should be a paid digital resource library that hits some of these big series, big pieces that you've done, unique topics that you've covered, things like developing your intuition, things that have mass appeal. One of the things that you can do is you can go into Google and check the SEO on the 10 currently most asked metaphysical questions, most sought after, what am I trying to say, Jackie? Most searched out, most searched out topics. Go into those topics and see what they are and see if you've taught about them recently. Because people will find you because that is available on your site. And that those little incremental dollars, it's $10, it's $15, it doesn't sound like very much. But if 100 people participate during the year, it's $1,000 to $1,500 in your revenue stream resource. In today's world, Sunday mornings alone are not going to support your community. They just aren't. For so many reasons we're all aware of, not the least of which is people don't carry cash. So trying to get them to figure out how they're giving is an interesting thing. Even if you have text and you have all the things available, we are spending discretionary dollars differently right now in our world. Politically, we're afraid. And we, the big we, are spending our discretionary dollars judiciously. So what do your people need, and who else can you serve? Those are good questions to be asking as you look into the possibility of your next revenue stream, your next new revenue stream. So I want to talk about permission gained and permission requested. So when we have conversations and we say we're going to try some new things, we're asking permission. Are you guys willing to ride this with me? I think we can do something different. I would really like you to be on board with me on this journey. Let's check out some new ways of doing things. That permission gained allows people to go, oh, this is not scary. This is safe. I was asked. I think it's kind of a cool thing that we're being innovative. We're being courageous together. We're learning how to open into something else, and we're gathering information. What do we want and what do we not want? How are we giving and how are we not giving? What things are important to us? That permission giving gets everybody on board. It's important as you think about shifting some of your language and some of your activities. It's important to gain permission. It's also important to give permission. And giving permission is to say, I'm inviting you to be curious with me. I'm inviting you to communicate freely. I'm inviting you to let me know how this feels as we move through. I am inviting you to be an active participant in what we're doing. That is you giving permission. I am inviting you into this so that people don't feel like this is happening to me. Oh my gosh, these things are changing and they're happening to me. And nobody asked me. Nobody invited me into that. I don't even know if I'm supposed to participate in this membership circle. I don't even know if I'm supposed to. Can I attend this legacy event if I'm not sure I'm going to if I don't even have a will yet? Yes. Yes, you can. You are invited, no matter what, to participate in some of these new activities and to give us some feedback so that we're doing this together, so that we feel the safety of innovative community together. And when you speak to the safety of innovation, it changes the perception that people have. Because innovation can be scary. Is my community changing into something I don't want? Are they becoming, oh my gosh, is my community becoming so money-based that I don't want to be one of those people. I don't want to be part of that church. Oh, well, we want you. We want you to give your input. And then there is an asking at the end of these circles. How's it feeling? How are you liking your movie membership? Are you having a good time? Thank you so much for the good stuff you're doing. So we're moving from kind of a mechanical approach to economics into a field-based approach. And field-based just means we are in action with the field rather than reactive to the set of circumstances we have set as our kind of mechanical base. And we have all those circumstances. We have to pay for this, we have to pay for that, we have to pay for this other thing, we have to reach this much money, the budget says this. Those are all mechanical kind of parameters to how you spend your money, how you raise your money, versus field-based, which is interactive with your field. It's driven by courageous risk, courageous innovation, and measurement. How did that work for us? How many people joined? Maybe it didn't work. This is why it's called courageous, because courageous means it might not work. And if it doesn't work, you did not fail. You learned something, right? You learned something. Okay, that's not the right one. Let's try the next one. This one worked. Oh, yay. What's our next courageous, innovative step? To be courageously innovative means that you're willing to have something not work as well as you wanted it to, and to watch and to measure regularly so that you don't go way down the road in something that isn't working. If it isn't working by the third or fourth membership meeting, your membership's probably not working. It's probably not the right idea. Or your community is not yet ready to consider a retreat. Every community is different. Every community will be enthused about something different. So it is to be willing to have something be educationally profitable and not financially profitable, because you learn something new about your community. This is a different way of doing things. It is less predictable and more based on probability. Because there are lots of things we can predict about our communities, and we become very safe in the predictability of what we do. If I bring so-and-so in to do a house concert, the chairs will be full because they love that guy. But I don't know if I bring this new person in to speak on this topic, I don't know if they're going to come or not. It moves into fields of probability and expands into new ideas and new areas. And that's an important one. It is an ecological shift, an ecosystem shift. So we have a particular kind of foundational, to say ecological is earth logic, right? It talks about our environment running in a logical way. To expand your ecologic foundation requires these risks, these new trial and error pieces. That's how transformation takes place. Because we try something new. We try an art Sunday. We try a Tuesday night concert series. We try something new. Those things shift the ecologic foundation of what it is that you're doing. And they move us into what I like to think of as quantum financial pattern recognition. So when we think of quantum, we immediately know that we're talking about things that are solid because we look at them and see them solidly, but if we stop looking at them, they might not be solid anymore, right? We all know that metaphor in quantum thought. This looking at quantum financial pattern recognition means looking at what gets solid and what doesn't. If I do this, it got solid. When I back away from it, does it stay solid or does it not? Can we solidly move from event to event? It evaluates a lot of possibilities simultaneously. It's not just taking on one thing. It's changing your language from stewardship to partnership and talking about a retreat and setting up a movie possibility. It's doing several things. It's speaking differently into your community and looking for the patterns that come back from all of those things. And it's moving your capital. Where will you invest some capital to make some capital? How can that happen in your church? Or are you right on that edge where, gosh, Ariana, I'd really love to do that, but we're barely covering our butts here. So how can I move into that new risk area? It's a good question. It takes more thought. You'll have to, one of the ways that you can start that is to move to those different tiers of giving for the things that people are already giving into. Give into on the generosity level, give in on the community level, create the scholarship level. That will, again, over time, will help to maybe get you across the edge with a little bit of extra in your capital fund that you can invest in some new ideas. You know this. Abundance is a field of potential awaiting wise participation. It isn't something we have to create. It's already there. It is just waiting for us to step in wisely and use it. So let's talk about what we do in our heads and our hearts for a minute and really understand we have contracts with things with energy like money. We have agreements. We're going to use money a certain way if it comes in is an agreement. We're going to pay our bills on time is a money agreement. We're going to do something new once a year is a money agreement. We're going to reduce spending if we don't have enough is a money agreement. It's an agreement with your money, not just an agreement with your community. It's an agreement with the energy that you have. So can you have a money agreement that funds increase or funds appear automatically when they are needed for purpose? Can you begin to live into that reality? Funds appear automatically when we are in fulfillment of our purpose. Can you create that in your affirmative knowing of your community? It's the same as when you say, thank you so much for being a generous community. I'm so grateful to work for a generous community. I love being involved in a place where generosity is rampant. Now, you might be looking at a community that is giving the same amount that they gave last year and the same amount that they gave the year before. Look at that and then start talking to them about being a generous community and see how the consciousness shifts in 3 months. When you affirm that you have a generous community, your affirmation becomes your reality. So speak into it regularly. Thank you so much for being so generous in your giving here. Thank you for being a generous community with your time, with your talent, with your treasure. Those things are making a difference. And they will. They will. It's the same money agreement that I'm talking about when you say, as we move on purpose into fulfilling our mission, the funds we need to do what we need to do, what is ours to do in the world, continue to appear. This is where we go from whether or not you believe that's magical thinking or you actually can live into that reality. And it's a big test for us because our old embedded thinking gets really into this. It gets really underneath. And the truth shows up. Do I really believe what I'm teaching or not? So this is your work. This is your work. Can I really be present to this statement? And can I say it and feel it clearly in my body and feel it in my co-creative interaction with the universe, with all that is, with the holy? You can create a relationship where money becomes responsive rather than static, where the energetic field of money is responsive to you versus there for your use. And that is the difference between being a co-creator with the divine and waiting for the universe to create it for you. I know that you've heard those things. I don't mean to, lecture the choir. And I also know, myself included, I need to be reminded of those things sometimes. It helps me. We are generosity modeling in all that we do. We understand that donor connection points make a difference. That's why we talk about what happens with the money. Because you're giving, and you're giving, we were able to do this. That's a donor connection point. And those donor connection points strengthen community. They help people to feel that they can do something in the world they don't have to do alone. They also begin to reveal, especially through generosity giving and community giving, that scholarship fund begins to reveal the underserved areas of your community. Who is not getting to go to class? We don't always know that because we see who's there. We don't always notice who's not there. So we begin to see the underserved areas of our community more clearly through things like scholarship funds, which allows us then to be more attentive to some of those areas. The same is true when we're giving leadership training or we're giving, what is peacemaking? What is peacemaking? Peacemaking is not static, it's active. What is peacemaking? We begin to see the people who are struggling for peace. These classes that we teach begin to show us underserved areas that we can then serve better. And this is what I think is changing in fundraising across the board. I think that fundraising is becoming more about attuning to what is ours to do in the world than it is about persuading other people. When we are tuning in and really co-creating our community, co-creating our world, co-creating in our communities, we become, and paying attention, measuring impact and response, we will elevate our fundraising. Just the persuasion of, gosh, guys, like you pay rent at home, you've got to think about the fact that we've got to pay the mortgage here. That's persuasive language that they don't really have the bandwidth for in a lot of ways right now. Right now, the bandwidth that is responsibility, accountability, fear-based unpredictability, it's pretty stretched in people. So we have to talk to them through a different channel when it comes to this. We have to talk to them through the channel of possibility and probability and potential, and speak into what we can do for each other through those donor connection points, both what we can do for each other and what we can do farther out into the community. And I really invite you, when this class is over, it's recorded, it's placed on the Unity South Central Region website. It's also posted. I always send Elaine the slides so that you guys have them, so that you can pull them up and you can come back to the language here, and you can share this with your board. You can use these. Like, these slides are available to use. You can download them and you can teach from them into your community. You can pull language out of them. You can do whatever you want. So I really invite you. There's some different languaging here. I invite you to download the slides, to grab the words, to listen again to this class, and to listen to some of the examples of how to use the words in your community so that you can up-level your giving language. I want to introduce one more concept to you, which is the difference between extractive growth and regenerative flow. So extractive growth says part of my job is to extract from the community the funds that we need to be able to do this. It's a very transactional, I'm going to get this from you, you're going to get that from me. Without extracting funds from you, I can't give you this. Regenerative flow is a different thing. The word regenerative means to revitalize. It means to bring new life to what you're doing. So when we think about being in regenerative flow, we are thinking about what we can do that improves the nature of what we're doing in the world for everyone. So an example can be regenerative farming. Regenerative farming is where you move your animals to different fields, and instead of letting them completely eat down to the ground one field, you move them from place to place. You move different animals in that will offer different kind of fertilizer into the ground. There's a regeneration of the land so that it's used in a thoughtful way. You develop nutrient-dense foods. You look for ways to increase the value, not that you're going to grow more carrots, but that the carrots you grow are going to be more valuable on a nourishment level. In your community, how can what you're doing right now be done in a way that is more spiritually nourishing? How can you be more regenerative in your thinking? How can you adapt new opportunities that regenerate livelihoods? So we have language around rest. I want you to come to this retreat and rest and reflect and renew. No, I want you to come to this retreat and regenerate. Look at what you're doing through a new lens, through a new way. We're going to do this class on 5 principles, and we're going to make it more nourishing. How is that going to happen? How do we up-level our game so that when people walk out the door, they feel energized? Because what's happening right now is that the state of the world that we're living in requires a lot of nurturance and a lot of comfort and a lot of caring. And we're good at that. But what can happen in it is that we can deepen sadness to the point that we don't have the energy force, the life force in us to do the next thing. And in your spiritual community, that can begin to look like stagnation. We are stuck in an endless loop of trying to care for each other during this time. That caring for each other is really important. I'm not suggesting you let go of that. I'm suggesting that you ask yourself, what about this activity is regenerating? Kirtan, music, dance, movement. What are you doing that energizes people? We must match our nurturance right now with regeneration, because people need the energy to feel like they can move forward into the next thing. How is that happening? What activities do you have in your community that are regenerative? Regenerative economics gives new meaning to the way money is used. That's why a generosity level and a community level that births a scholarship level is regenerative, because it involves more people in more activities in a way that allows for new giving to occur. These are healthy systems for circulating resources through the whole of your community, and they don't hoard. Nature doesn't hoard. Nature invites you into a wide circulating pattern. So this particular opportunity is to circulate more readily. And it moves you into analysis of scarcity thinking. Makes scarcity thinking more obvious to you, because circulation is about connectivity and relation building. It's when people know that they're giving their money and it's allowing other people to participate, that is a very circular way of being. Now, how do the people who are receiving the scholarships give back in? What is their place? So you get to set the language for that. I like the language of participation. When you come, if you're able to come on a scholarship, come and be really committed to participating in the class. Be attentive, set your phone down, bring your whole heart. The community has helped to create the opportunity for you to gain the most you can gain from this. You will take this information. If you give yourself to the experience, it will improve what you take out into the world. Whether it's who you are sitting at a fellowship table on Sunday, or who you are sitting in your office, or who you are with your children, this new learning, if you give yourself to it, allows you to participate in the world in a new way, and that's how you circulate that energy. There has to be that piece, because otherwise you build a taking, a place in your community that is about taking rather than receiving. Receiving has a giving to it. It's part of a circular process. It's part of circulation. So you want to be in conversation about if you are receiving a scholarship. We are so grateful. We ask that you give as well by being very attentive in class, by enjoying this experience, and by taking whatever you gained from it back into the world in a positive way. Because we are bigger than just the four walls here and what fits inside of them. We have influence on families and communities and workplaces and all kinds of things. So take this stuff back out with you. There's also the opportunity to think into giving and receiving. And I want to just remind you that refusing to receive interrupts your entire circulation. So that receiving piece, that person who is in scholarship receiving is part of the circulation. Like, you can't have circulation without receiving. Everybody is receiving all the way along. You're receiving the dopamine hit. You're receiving the freedom to give at the level that serves you. You're receiving, if you're receiving scholarships, everybody is receiving, and receiving with grace. So let people be happy when they come to the counter to pay for whatever they're paying for. You know, that invitation is, yay, I can do it the way I need to do it, the way I want to do it, the way that allows me to be here. Going back again, when you have abundant ministry, you have leadership that is rested and ready to regenerate. You have a vision that extends beyond your survival. Generosity feels joyful because it feels purposeful and meaningful. Creativity is funded and you can be innovative, and the future feels welcoming rather than resistant, right? So when we are not in abundant ministry, we feel resistant. We feel uncertain. So these pieces are really valuable to how we move forward. They're really valuable to the transformation that we're in. And I encourage you to, no matter the size of your community, no matter your position in the community, to really give yourself the word regenerative, to really take that from today's class and really ask yourself, how are we regenerative? How are we feeding energy in versus comforting and nurturing, just comforting, or not that it's ever a just, right? We're always there to comfort and nurture. But how are we balancing, I guess is what I'm saying. How are we balancing in this specific time in the world that we live in, our nurturing and comforting efforts with regenerative efforts? As always, it is my tremendous pleasure and honor to have this time with you, to be able to support the good work that you do in the world is very heart-filling for me. I appreciate and understand what it is to do the job that you do, to care for people the way that you do, to reach out in a world that's struggling and be present and be willing to be present and courageous and wise. And I just want to honor that in each and every one of you and say thank you for the gift of your time here today. We'll be back together the middle of the month. to talk about this and other things. So our middle of the month session is not recorded. It's an invitation to come back and say, I'm not getting the regenerative thing, or I got this money problem, or, or something else is going on that I could really use the opportunity to mastermind with a group of people who will really understand where you are. So I look forward to seeing you the middle of the month, and I hope that your day and your week are amazing, and welcome to your February. I hope that it is indeed a month of love for you, and I'll see you soon. Have a great day.